Hello, it is Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Wednesday puzzle, so we're creeping up slightly the difficulty curve, I suppose. It's still a themed puzzle, of course, and this themed puzzle, this edition, I should say, of the Daily Solve is brought to you by Jordan Larson and a new benefactor to the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, so welcome to Michael H., as well as always, the inestimable Hood Monster. So thank you very much to the three of them, Jordan, Michael, and Hood Monster, for supporting the Daily Solve Patreon campaign and helping make this a sustainable part of my daily work. I very much appreciate it. If you'd like to join their ranks as benefactors and get access to this recognition as well as the Daily Solve mug, the Let's Check the Crosses exclusive mug, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve. And there's a link in the description field underneath the video. And of course, you can also find how to become a patron at any level of support, any of which include access to the full range of bonus videos that I've recorded over the months, bonus solves, as well as the new ones that go up each week. So thank you so much to everybody who's contributed at any capacity to the Patreon. I very much appreciate it. And remain until the end of the video if you'd like to hear some comments from yesterday's video. There were several. So if you were curious about some of the things we encountered yesterday, well, I was too. And you'll be informed by those comments at the end. But first, let's solve today's puzzle. This is, as I say, a Wednesday puzzle. It was constructed by Meredith Colton Hazy. Meredith Colton Hazy is yet another debut constructor and yet another example of a constructor who picked up the constructor's pen mid-pandemic. So I had quite a few of those, and interested to see what her debut puzzle is like. It was edited, as always, of course, by Will Shorts. So, shall we get started? I think so. Okay. The basis of a trivia question. Basis of a trivia question. A fact, I suppose. Is that what that would be? Walrus weapons are tusks. Looks right. Blunder. Could that be fail or fall, maybe? Probably fail. Let's check the crosses here. Party with poi and poke. Oh, probably not fail. Oh, a blunder is a flub. That's a much better match. Because a party with poi and poke is a luau. Sort of Hawaiian, I don't know. Well, party. Is there a more specific function of a luau, or is it sort of held for any purpose? I'm actually not sure offhand. Anyway, an emanation could be an aura. You could emanate an aura, I suppose. And a class with integrals for short could be calculus. It's a mathematical concept. Well, what is an integral? I don't even remember. I used to know this. Now I don't remember. Website links are URLs, uniform resource locators, and C18 across, it says. What is 18 across? With 20 across, goes to great lengths. Bends backwards. Oh, I see. Bends over backwards. This is a very classic New York Times crossword theme. I actually haven't encountered this kind of thing in a while. I really like this sort of theme where the relationship in the positioning of these two answers actually helps create the full answer. So the word bends is over the word backwards. It is literally above it in the grid. And so the full answer is bends over backwards or goes to great lengths. And there we have it. So we're going to have a crossword that is presumably themed around positional wordplay. We'll have to see if the rest of the themes use that same mechanic, but they probably will. We might have something under something else, or maybe something through something else, or next to, who knows? We'll have to see. Surname of Batman by day would be Wayne, Bruce Wayne. And a sandwich invented in Florida, despite what its name suggests. Probably a Cubano, which would make sense given the high Cuban population in Florida. I don't know the origin of the Cubano, but that seems pretty likely. Selects from various places. Sites? That's not right. Selects from various places. Casts, maybe? You could cast a film? I don't know. I think I'm missing something obvious, probably. Threat to the Allies in World War II could be a U-boat. It was known as a threat, the German submarines. And crosswalks cross them. They cross streets. And we're informed that it's an abbreviation. We don't need to infer it ourselves. Fellows could be lads. And la capitale de Inglaterra, so this would be the capital of London in Spanish, which would be Londres, I suppose. I'm sure I'm saying that terribly. Selects from various places. Why do I not see what this is? Oh, culls? You sort of cull a data set? Yeah, I suppose it must be, because took a car in a way could be Ubered. You called an Uber, you took a car in a way, and the in a way is there to indicate this isn't a direct synonym. We're sort of, you could say you took a car, you Ubered, you called Uber. One in peak singing condition. There's a question mark here, which means this is a pun or wordplay of some kind. So really what that means is we don't read this with the surface meaning. Obviously, you read this one in peak singing condition, it sounds like someone who is at the top of their game when it comes to singing. But in this case, we're referring to singing on a peak in the Alps, perhaps. You could be yodeling, or one in peak singing condition could be a yodeler. So that's what's going on there. A tennis call could be let. What is let? Is that, I think when you serve in tennis and maybe the ball hits the net and goes over, that's a let, perhaps? And you do it again? I don't know. I could be wrong. To solidify as jello is to set. The jello firms up. And the piano-playing sister in Little Women. Oh, I don't remember. Oh, Beth. Is it Beth? See 35 across. We have another theme clue, it looks like. So 35 across is with 39 across, superior. Well, over does look likely again here, because maybe they're all over, actually. I thought maybe some of them would be under and they would be different positions, but perhaps they're all over, which seems likely with superior. But why don't I see what it is? This looks like the, maybe? Is this the? Blunder. Yeah, blunder could be an error. Oh, and that's funny. We had, that's interesting. We actually had a different blunder also crossing a theme answer. That's sort of a funny little echo. I wonder if that will be repeated yet a third time in the puzzle. What about this? Actress Zellweger, Renee Zellweger. And here we have, so there you blank, so there you are. And here we have one between 10 and 20, say a teenager? Adolescent, how about that? I suppose it's arguable whether you'd call someone between 10 and 20 a teenager, because you could have someone aged 10, 11, or 12. I don't know. Those are tweens, I guess. Maybe not 10. I guess I don't know. Maybe one between 10 and 20. Maybe that's not inclusive. Maybe it's one between 10 and 20 exclusive. So maybe that's from age 11 to age 19 because they're between 10 and 20. I'm actually not sure. Anyway, adolescent, I think, works perfectly well regardless of which of these definitions you choose. Or not definitions, which of these interpretations of the clue you choose. So, a bottom first birth position. I'm not sure offhand. What about this? A roll of fabric. A bolt. Bolt of fabric. There we go. Took me a moment. And a cold comment. Again, we have a question mark, so some kind of pun or wordplay. Cold comment, not a cruel comment, but rather a comment made when one is cold. Barely even a comment, but I think the phrase brr, the onomatopoeia, maybe you could say. Vehicle named after a lake. Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is a lake that straddles the states of California and Nevada in the U.S. and is also the name of a big truck vehicle, I think. Main component of soapstone. Is it talc? Winter hours in New Orleans. Presumably Central Standard Time, I would think. New Orleans Central? I'm guessing it is. Brouhahas are adieus. Big to-do, or big adieu, sorry. It's a whole thing. It's a whole brouhaha. It's a whole adieu. A party giver is a host, a person who hosts the party, of course, and they're hopeless. Lost causes are hopeless. So now let's see if we can figure out this puzzle. Sorry, this theme clue. With 39 across, superior, a cut above the rest. There we go. There we have it. I had to actually phonetically work through that to get to the complete answer, but it is a cut above the rest. So there we go. We have so far bends over backwards and a cut above the rest. Here, a saint in Portuguese would be São, also used There's cities named after saints, like Sao Paulo. I've been to Sao Paulo. It's quite a remarkable city, I thought. And bottom first berth position. Oh, breach. Yes, okay. I'm familiar with that phrase. And something brewing is hot tea. And the airport initials are TSA, the Transport Security Administration, I suppose. Is it agency or administration? I think administration. Okay, let's jump back up to the crosses, which we've left off a bit. Scram. Scram could be get. I mean, it could be get as well, but I'm wondering if the slang nature of scram is indicating something a bit more slangy, a bit more dialect flavored here with get, but I don't know. Let's check the crosses. Went on a lucky streak. I don't know. Got hot. Get might be completely wrong. Constraining. I mean, it could be in something, in restraints or in limits or something like that, but I'm not sure yet. Abstainer from alcohol. Well, this could be a teetotaler. Does that fit? Is that... are there two L's in that? Let's check the crosses here. Like some tails. Some tails could be tall. Tall tails, an exaggerated tail. And to isolate in modern lingo. I don't know. Probably recognize it when I see it, but I'm not sure offhand. Notable nights. Could be eves, perhaps. There's some nights that are notable because they are before a notable day, and that makes them an eve, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, whatever. Lead into wolf. A werewolf, perhaps. And to do a bit of tailoring is to sew. You'd need to sew in order to tailor a garment, so that works. So isolate in modern lingo. To silo oneself, that doesn't really sound necessarily modern, though, does it? Constraining. And words of concession. I lose, I suppose. Isolate in modern lingo. Solo, silo? I mean, it seems like it must be one of those. What's modern about that? It's interesting. To silo oneself. Is that something that maybe people didn't say that 50 years ago? Maybe I'm missing something very obvious and there's somehow a different word there, and I don't know. The price is negotiable in classified ads. Would that be OBO or best offer? There's a price given and then the phrase or best offer. In other words, this is what I want, but I'll give it to the best that's offered. Pull a fast. I don't know, pull a fast one is what my assumption would have been, but that obviously doesn't fit for several reasons. Went on a lucky streak. Could be got hot. That's sort of odd, though. Oh, here we have another theme clue. So, C41 across and 41 across. Oh, so this is an under, I think. I think this is under. Oh, and it looks like perhaps that's actually geographically part of the puzzle as well, in that our two overs are in the top half of the grid, whereas our first under, well, it straddles the top and bottom half, actually, I suppose. Well, let's see if we can figure out what it is. Anyway, with 36 across, plays dirty. Acts under the... What is this? Constraining. And what is this? C-section performers. Would that be OB for obstetricians? Plays dirty. Oh, hits under the belt. Right, of course. Okay. Hits under the belt. And so again, of course, the word hits is in the grid visually located under the phrase the belt. So hits under the belt. I think that's what that is. So went on a lucky streak. It must be got hot. That's funny. I really wasn't expecting it to be that. But it looks like it is. And, oh, I see. Pull a fast one on. So I said pull a fast one doesn't fit here, and it didn't. But it's because, sure, you could also say to pull a fast one on somebody in particular, and that's what we're looking for here. So constraining is inhibitive, I see. So you could say, I don't know, the rule set of this crossword, this theme I've thought of in constructing this crossword is very inhibitive. It's very constraining. It's difficult to... Oops, what have I done? I've typed 3 ones. That was strange. Inhibitive, okay. Prominent Venetian Renaissance painter Titian. And bad in French is mal. That could be a tough cross, I suppose, if you don't have French knowledge and aren't familiar with this painter. Pork order. I mean, you might be able to get, if you don't know anything about French, you might be able to get mal or mal in English from words like maladjusted, poorly adjusted. I don't know. Maybe might be a tough one. I'm not sure. Pork order could be a pork loin. Impressive, maybe oh-ho or ooh. Could be either one of those, I think. Here we have a boatload. Well, that looks like a ton to me. So, ooh, impressive. I suppose that's more straightforward. What might display a little spirit? Okay, interesting. And we have another question mark, so the pun or wordplay indicator. So we're not meant to read this with its surface meaning. We need to find out what the wordplay or pun is. What might display a little spirit? Oh, a mini bar. A mini bar might have those little bottles of liquor. They could be a small amount of spirit. Small amount of gin or whiskey or something. Okay. Style of sneaker. Could be high tops. Those were really big when I was younger, I remember. I haven't seen them as much recently. Demands blackmail from. And particle binding corks together. I think this is a glue-on. And the name is a hint, I suppose, to its function of binding corks together, I think. Here we have another theme clue. So 55C60 cross, so we have another under. So I suppose the two, they might not strictly occupy the lower half of the grid. No, they don't, because actually, no, this, hits below the belt, right. It does. I suppose if you averaged these two lines, the line in between these two answers is technically in the bottom half of the grid, even though the words the belt are exactly on the center, and same with the cut above the rest. The rest is exactly above the center. But I think you could say that the above clues are in the top half of the grid and the below clues are in the bottom. I think you could basically accurately say that. Anyway, sorry, I don't know why I keep drilling into that. So anyway, with 55 across, no longer an issue. So swept under the rug? No. Did these all have the? No, they don't. No, they don't. But three of them do, at least. I guess exactly. I don't think we're going to get another one of these. So no longer an issue. After the fact, see if we can get across to make this a little bit easier. Blank Beardsley, 19th century English illustrator. Oh, is this Aubrey Beardsley? His name is familiar. That does make this look more like after, doesn't it? After the demands blackmail from. Could be bleeds. You could really bleed someone. You could extort them. Is that what that means? I don't mean is that what that means. I mean, is that the right answer? To wear something away is to erode it. Blank turvy, topsy-turvy. Popular boba flavor is taro root, I guess. And rainy is wet. Oh, water under the bridge. Right, of course. Not after at all. Water under the bridge. There we go. Why was I thinking after? I think I completely forgot about the under mechanic. Sorry about that. You were probably wondering what on earth I was talking about. You're thinking after, under the what? That doesn't mean anything. Of course it doesn't. Water under the bridge. Yeah. Here's a tip. When solving a theme answer, don't forget to employ the theme. That's a good... It'll help you in crosswords. Okay, dandy. Nice or something. Nifty, maybe? Sort of slightly quaint slang, I suppose. Nifty and dandy. Grim is, I don't know, drab, maybe. As in a location could be grim, drab. Discovery could be a find. It might come with breakfast in bed, a tray, perhaps. So grim is not... Oh, it's dire. That's a much better match than drab. Yes, indeed. Grim, dire. And sources for longbow wood would be yew trees, yew woods. Well, before we fill it in, let's look at the crosses. Chew on is to gnaw on, and brand name in the freezer. This has come up a few times in recent months. Edie is in Edie's ice cream, I guess. And use are the sources. So there we have the Wednesday puzzle. Honestly, I have to say, found this one much easier than yesterday's Tuesday puzzle. And I suppose that sort of thing can happen. Yesterday's puzzle, it sort of needed to go out yesterday because of Chinese New Year. And so yesterday's puzzle maybe, I think, would have been a Wednesday, almost maybe a Thursday in difficulty, arguably, depending on how much you lean on crosses. But the theme probably wasn't wacky enough for a Thursday puzzle. So yeah, I would probably, if I were arranging this week purely based on difficulty, I'd probably swap yesterday's puzzle and today's puzzle. But I understand why that went out on a Tuesday. It was important for the theme that it did. So fair enough. But certainly found this one to be easier by comparison and a fun theme. We had a fun, this is what I think of as I say, a very classic New York Times crossword theme. This is certainly a mechanic I've encountered a number of times before, which is interesting because it does seem as though, and I've seen people say that you're much less likely to get accepted with a New York Times crossword puzzle submission these days with a theme that doesn't do something new. So that's interesting. I have no complaints, by the way. I actually I really enjoy this sort of relatively straightforward wordplay theme. I certainly am not criticizing it at all. So here we had bends over backwards, a cut above the rest, hits below the belt, and water under the bridge. And of course, those are all represented visually in the grid. And it doesn't appear that we had any kind of revealer. So we simply had to discover this theme mechanic ourselves. We had to put the wordplay together, figure it out, put them in, and that's the grid. And they are nicely symmetrically disposed, actually. So by which I mean their positions are all mirrored. Yes, that is true. So that's a nice little feat of construction. In finding the constructor, she had to find two. It's actually impressive because she had to find exactly two over. Well, I suppose what I should say is she had to find exactly one each over and under phrase with precisely the same that could be separated into 5 and 9 cell spaces, and then she had to find precisely one under. No. Yes, that is right. Sorry. And then she had so essentially for each of these over and under, or above and under, I should say. No, over. Oh wait. Sorry, I also didn't realize that they use different words, but they're synonyms of each other. Sorry, I'm just this is a mess, this explanation. This is a complete mess. I'm just noticing things that I'm sure you all noticed long before I did. So it's not that they use the same word. We have bends over backwards and a cut above the rest. So over and above. So she had to find 4 different words that fell into 2 essential meanings, right? Above and over mean essentially the same thing. And then position them symmetrically in the grid, which meant that she had to pair their letter counts such that they could be split in appropriate ways to be symmetrical in the grid. Anyway, I'm going to leave my explanation there. This is a disaster of an explanation. I'm not going to try and restate it yet again. But all I'm saying is she did a good job sort of finding phrases that allowed her to maintain the symmetry in a number of different ways throughout the grid, and it worked very well. And so that's that. That's the puzzle. Let me know how you fared, and if you did also find it easier than Tuesday, as I suspect a fair number of people would have. And so now, let's discuss a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. Looks like I have 4 comments to read. So Chasmart says, okay, been yelling on one of your pronunciations. Utes is pronounced like the state Utah with a long U to begin, or like Joe Pesci in My Cousin Vinny pronounced youths. Utes, right, I see. Sorry about that. Yes, I think I was saying oots. I'm very, very sorry about that. I probably should have inferred it's Utes because obviously I know that the state of Utah is named after that tribe, so it would stand to reason that if it's not Utah, it wouldn't be Utes. So I'm very sorry about that. Thank you for the pronunciation guide. And Laura Sexton adds, in the same vein, skein, which I was pronouncing skein maybe, S-K-E-I-N, is pronounced skein among the knitting community in the US, or I have heard skein from various Europeans. Today is the first time I have heard skein, so sorry about that. Skein is how that is pronounced, a word I've not had called to use verbally myself very often. And Remy explains that Rosh Hashanah literally means head of the year, new year. Rosh is head and Shana is year. According to the Hebrew calendar, it is now the year 5782. So thank you, Remy, for that translation guide. That is good to know. I never actually knew that, so thank you. And Kathy Swope, speaking on the same topic of these New Year's holidays, Kathy Swope explains that Songkran, also known as the Buddhist New Year, is the traditional Thai New Year festival. It is a celebration that embraces goodwill, love, compassion, and thankfulness, using water as the means of expression. The word Songkran derives from Sanskrit, meaning to move or step forward. And finally, Bradley explains that Reno is indeed the third largest city in Nevada, after, of course, number 1, Las Vegas, and number 2, Henderson, which is also part of the Las Vegas Valley metro area. I was not even aware of the existence of Henderson, so I'm sorry to anybody from Henderson or the Las Vegas region. So that's why I was a bit, wasn't sure if Reno was the third largest city because I wasn't aware of the second. Now I am. Thank you, Bradley. And I think that is it. That's it. That's all I have from yesterday's puzzle. Obviously, today's is complete. So thank you for making it to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, if you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying this series, or if you're new to the series, please do subscribe. If you subscribe, it'll become much easier for you to find these videos as they go up each day in your YouTube subscription feed. And if you know someone who might enjoy it, please do pass it along. Also, I don't know that I mentioned this much. I'm sure most people watching this are aware, but in case you're not, I've been solving Wordle every day on the channel in YouTube Shorts, which are 1 minute long or under. Under 1 minute, which wouldn't fit in this grid anyway. Anyway, those are up there. I've been doing it for about, 2 weeks now maybe. It's been enjoyable. So that's another thing you can find on the channel. Otherwise, there is the Daily Solve Discord chat server if you'd like to communicate with others in this community, and you can find a link to that in the description field underneath the video. Patreon subscribers also get an extra channel in there. And you can follow me on Twitter at The Daily Solve. And I think that's all I have to say. So I'll be back tomorrow for the Thursday puzzle, the first tricky puzzle of the week, as I think of it, with usually some kind of impressive or ambitious theme. So I'm looking forward to that. Please join me. But until then, do have an excellent remainder of your Wednesday. Take care.